wash bay with the Porsche 930, and it looks like a ton of this paint's gonna come off. A lot of the green already dissolved in the chemical. It was foaming when we put it in the tank, but as you can see right here, all this like skim coating is just falling off. If you look under here, it's kind of hard to see, but all the undercoating is just falling off. I'm gonna try something different with this one. I'm going to use a GoPro, head-mounted GoPro. I did have to rig some stuff up because I want it to shoot in vertical, but I didn't have a proper mount, so we'll see how this works. And you guys let me know what you think. Do you like the handheld phone version of it, or do you like GoPro? Or I could mix a little bit of both of them in. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. Pressure washing the Porsche, and a lot of the paint came off. Almost all of the undercoating came off, and it was like a rubberized undercoating. We usually have a lot of trouble with that, but this time we didn't. Let's go over this thing real quick and see what we're working with. So there still is a little bit of paint, but it's gonna be in over the Thanksgiving weekend, so I think all that's gonna come off. The floor had a ton of soundproofing in, and the pressure washer didn't even touch it. I had to pull it all out by hand, but it just lifted right out of there. Same with all the rubberized undercoating. I pretty much had to pull all that off by hand, but it came off pretty easily. There's still some seam sealer there. That should come off within the next dip. Still a little bit of the undercoating and soundproofing, but there's no rust holes. This thing's in great shape. Come around back. This car made a giant mess, as you can see. There's no real damage to go over. This side has a little more paint. There was like a skim coating, as you could see in the video, where it was all bubbled up. That mostly came off. And this should all come off in the next dip. Up here, there's a lot of that, like I said, rubber. It's pretty tough, but it gets around the outside and then works itself under there. So next dip, that'll come off also. Now I did the GoPro on this one, and I don't know how I felt about it. Maybe I'll have to work with it a little more. I felt like it didn't make as good of a video, but I was able to keep two hands on the pressure washer, which was nice. But in the middle of pressure washing, I can't see what the camera is actually seeing, and I missed a little bit. But I'll work with both of them, play around with it a little bit. I got stuff all over my nose. And this is gonna go back in the tank for another dip over the long weekend, as I said, and we'll pull it out Monday. So the 1978 Porsche 930 is finally finished, and this thing looks absolutely amazing. Now this one's pretty special. It's number 11 off the assembly line, and the first 10 cars were crash test cars. So this was the first one available to the public. The company who sent this to us is Potzinger Reworks out of Long Island, New York. If you wanna follow this thing and see where it ends up, make sure you go give them a follow. I'm really honored that they sent this to us to get dipped. I really enjoyed working on this car. The paint actually wasn't as hard as I thought it was gonna be. It did have clear coat, and as I said, I sanded through that a little bit, but most of it came off in the first dip. I think it only took about 1 or 2 more dips after that, and this thing was completely down the bare metal, and there was barely any rust on it, so that didn't take us long at all. Let's take a closer look at this thing and see the finished product. So there was definitely some work done on this before. You can see there's a patch up front here, but I'm not even gonna be able to show you a whole bunch of damage to this thing. In the rockers, there was a little bit, and that's on both sides, it rotted through there, but this thing is completely solid. Look at that, the floor is great. It looks like these rear quarters were replaced. You can see there's a seam there where it was cut and welded. They did a pretty decent job though. Come to the rear, everything's pretty solid back here. Nothing really to show you. Around the other side, as you can see, there's another seam there. I don't believe that's factory. I don't know a lot about Porsches, but, and there we are. Another fine finished product.